Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast That Wouldn't Die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Good afternoon. Here we have a quiet little motel, tucked away off the main highway, and as you see, perfectly harmless looking, when in fact, it has now become known as the scene of the crime.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
What's up? I'm taking my shoes off.
I was wondering what the hell. There was a little bit of a pregnant pause there. I'm like, and your cue. Camera 2.
Camera 2. Go!
Go. This week, we're discussing the horror classic Psycho, a true horror classic, if I say so myself. For God's sakes. Starring Anthony.
Yes, you're correct. It is a horror, and it is a classic.
Starring Anthony Perkins. I'm hesitant that I'm going to say Anthony Hopkins, who is not in this movie. I might mention.
Although he could have done it. He was just not quite as young and sexy as old Anthony.
He would have been pretty young to be the star.
Dude, he was in The Lion in Winter with Katharine Hepburn. Give me a fucking
68
break.
or something, right?
Yes, and he was not an infant on her teat.
But how old was he? What was he? 20?
Dude, he played Richard the Lionhearted.
We have to do. He's definitely older than we think. There's no question of this. It's like I watched Westworld that has Anthony Hopkins and Ed Harris, and I figured they're the same age. Ed Harris, who looks like a goddamn mummy, is like 20 years younger than Anthony Hopkins. So you may be right now that I mentioned it. Anyway, Anthony Hopkins not in this movie.
Did I tell you I saw Anthony Hopkins in London for M. Butterfly?
Oh, for
1937. He is 2 years older than our mother.
So he would have been like 23. Well, and that could have worked.
Who else was in The Lion in Winter? He ended up being a lesser Dalton. James Bond. Timothy Dalton.
And they wanted him to replace Sean Connery, which is crazy. So
Timothy Dalton had the chops to do it, but he was given shit. Those were some of the worst James Bonds.
But I want to say, at like 21, they're like, "Hey, would you like to be James Bond?" And he said, "I'm too goddamn young for this." I mean, Sean Connery I'm trying to think how old Sean Connery was. He was like 35, looking like 65. It's
they forced him to retire, and then they brought him back, mother effer.
True.
For battling Bonds.
It's true. No, Timothy Dalton's great. I feel like it was definitely a case of, and I'll tell you what, I like The Living Daylights. That was his first one. But License to Kill, his final one, not great. Let's just say
I somewhat dated someone who was in one of those. He was in one of the ski scenes where you couldn't actually identify.
Oh, I thought you were saying Robert Davi or somebody you were dating.
Robert Davi. No.
Google it.
No, I did not. I dated some random Austrian fella who was in the background with no face.
That doesn't count. You don't get new. Each week on the podcast,
a strong word.
We shared a knowing glance across a crowded dance floor. I get it. Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest?
The latest is we were discussing our nephew's wedding and how nobody wanted to pick Kevin up.
I was not going to talk about that.
Oh, too bad.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, it would have been fun, but I guess it doesn't work out. Is it? I don't know the math of the freeways in Southern California.
Okay.
But honestly, just for entertainment's sake, you should just call our brother and have him pick you up.
Here's what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm rolling solo to this wedding. So my sibs, many of whom who live 20 minutes away, I'm like, hey. Now I said it brusquely, some would argue. I said, who's picking me up?
That's right. I would have said the same thing.
I said, who's picking me up?
I literally said for the next wedding, whose place am I crashing at?
Absolutely. Crickets. Absolutely. And the response was, well, K-Dog, if you'd like, you can drive 20 minutes in the wrong direction and pick us up or ride in the trunk, something along those lines. So my attitude is, and no hard feelings, I'll just cry by myself listening. It'll be like the final scene.
By myself.
It'll probably be the final scene from Last American Virgin where he's crying as his girl has just left him for the dude that, knocked her up. And
except it's just your family abandoning you in Norco.
Can we figure out what we keep doing wrong? Well, I have tears running down my cheek. If I'm getting
text that picture,
I may. If I'm driving myself, I'm just going to drive to the goddamn venue, and I'll see you there. Drinks are on you. So
son
of
a bitch.
Well, we're also talking about how it's shocking to us that people will RSVP to a wedding. Yes, I'm there. All 12 of us are coming, and then just blow it off. Just don't show up.
Yeah,
like that's a thing, and that's a regular thing. It's crazy to me that happens.
I have done the opposite. I have shown up at weddings I was not invited to.
You're the original wedding crasher, is what you're saying. I figured
with a 20% cancellation, they got room.
They need you at that stage of the game. You're helping them out.
I'm helping them out. I'm the guest that they didn't know they needed.
Absolutely. Before Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, there was Aaron knocking on the door. Good grief.
It's even better because there's really no obligation for a gift since you really didn't want me there to begin with.
You know what's funny? I always talk about this. I don't always talk about it. Let me preface that. From time to time, I mentioned at my wedding, my wedding was a location wedding. So I had people who came, but they didn't give me a gift. And I was just like, what's up?
Like, my presence is your present.
And I think that's how people justify. It's like, look, I had to drive 5 hours, get a hotel room. Hey, I've already dropped a few C notes on this deal. I think we're even, is what I think people are saying.
Back the truck up. So basically, you've confronted your friends. Where's my gift? And they had to explain to you why.
Not at all. They did not.
Here's a question.
Please.
Our other brother got married in the UK. What gift did you bring him?
That's an excellent question. I was college age. I think there's a rule. This is an important rule. I think the moment you are when you're floating along under your parents' umbrella, it is your parents' responsibility to provide the gift. The moment you are a fully formed adult going to functions, then it is your responsibility. So at the time...
What if, as a college-age person, you're going to your college-age friend's wedding? Is mom writing a check for that?
No. I give gifts because you're right. About that time, you're going to start
getting married.
There's going to be an avalanche of your homies who are suddenly getting married, no question. And those people, I did give gifts to. Now, it might have been the bread maker that mom and dad didn't want anymore. That's a standard. Who didn't get a goddamn bread maker?
I did not, but I got many picture frames in the 90s and under cabinet coffee makers. Yeah, I registered not for any picture frames, nor did I register for any under the cabinet coffee maker. I registered for a very nice espresso maker, but instead I got a Black & Decker undermount that when I went to return, after going to about 20 stores, someone finally said, no one's carried this model for 3 years.
Yeah, I've had that happen. I got a crystal candy dish that I did not, and I tried to return it, and it was literally like a gift. Like it was a free gift when you buy something else that somebody had received and tried to pass it off. Because believe it or not, I'm not registering for a goddamn candy dish. Who am I? Right? And let me just say this. If you ever receive a picture frame as a gift, that is a goddamn slap in the face. That is a slap in the face. That is a spit in your mouth. I don't want any of your goddamn picture frames. Take this shit and the door's that way.
That's I think I still have a crystal bowl. It's art objet left over from my wedding. And I do have my keys in it. I should probably check the value of it. But it was definitely not a gifted purchase.
We sound great sitting here bitching about gifts we've received in the past. It's like, God damn. The people are probably listening to this go, what the I gave that candy dish. I gave those picture frames. You better return that shit. Anywho.
Dude, I remember returning a ton of crystal, and I bought like a Dooney Burke, and I thought I was the shit.
Don't say you received a bunch of crystal, because that sounds a little different, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, sweet Jesus. Why don't you give us everyone should know this, but why don't you give us the 30-second synopsis for Psycho, if you please?
Okay, the story of Psycho goes that a young woman is having a torrid relationship with a single man out there in, I don't know, Tucson. And he won't marry her because he's got to pay alimony for his last wife. So she gets the crazies and steals a bunch of cash from work and runs to her boyfriend's house. I don't know what she thought he was going to do. He didn't seem like somebody was like going to be down with that. And stops at the wrong hotel, my friend. She disappears. Craziness ensues. It's more adventures of Crazy Town. And this is what I've learned from movies. Once you kill one person, then Jesus Christ, it looks like you just got to keep killing. That seems exhausting. And then, they finally catch him. He's crazy. The end. But wait, there's a Psycho 2.
And a Psycho 3. And a Psycho 4.
I don't acknowledge
Boom Shakalaka. And then this multiple series that you enjoy.
Oh my God. Bates Motel. Well, it's different than that. It is fantastic. Can't recommend more. It is an amazing series with these two arcs that are going. You're Norman's mother, Norman's arc, and they're completely different. Oh my God. It's an amazing series.
It's Vera Farmiga and the Good Doctor. Is that right?
Yes. The Good Doctor plays Norman Bates. Yes. And in this, he has a brother. Yeah.
They're messing with the lore. I don't like that mess with the lore.
And it takes place like in the Pacific Northwest. So
what?
There's like weed. It's like this whole spin. Clearly filmed in Canada. Are you telling me you haven't watched Bates Motel?
Despite the 1,000 times that you've berated me on this podcast,
I don't even understand. Not. You got nothing but time.
Yeah, nothing but time. No question. No question at all.
If you're leaning, you can be cleaning.
Pretty much. I told you that I recently tried to watch Psycho with my youngest, Lucy, who's high school age. You figure, look, I know it's a little bit of a slow burn, but you're high school age. You could put up. No. She said she watched it literally to the death of Marion Crane and looked me dead in the eye and said, "You know what? I don't even give a damn who did the murder. I'm out." And she just bounced. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she doesn't again.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It's frankly
Shocking.
upsetting. It's right. She's dishonored the family. Is all I could say.
Honestly, it always goes back to the parents, I think.
Look, I have to throw myself on the mercy of the court at this stage of the game because 100%. It's like, what the hell? Where did I go wrong? You know what I mean? Is the question.
Yeah, I understand. My son won't fucking leave his room to watch one of these goddamn movies with me. He always gives me the Playboy plate like he's already seen it.
We've heard that one before, for God's sakes. But what's cool about this movie is you kind of have to watch it from the mindset of the audiences in 1960, right? Where you don't know who the killer is. You don't know who the titular psycho is. And it's really kind of a cool experience because literally the first half of the movie is Marion Crane, Janet Leigh, stealing the money from her boss's safe or whatever, to pay off her deadbeat lover's debts. He's up to, because it's a different time. Nowadays, people just be like, F it, I have debts, let's get married. Right?
Yeah.
But they wouldn't think twice about it.
See what I couldn't understand about the relation. She got a job now. She can't get a job then? In Fairvale or whatever the hell
do it.
Bullshit part of California they live in. I don't know.
That's Back ridiculous. Then, you would just have to light a candle and hope they married somebody else. So then you wouldn't have to keep carrying them anymore. I guess. True.
I guess they could have murdered the ex-wife.
He could have been the psycho. Before. He could have been the psycho.
She could have been the psycho.
Did she even exist? Maybe he was the psycho.
Ooh.
See?
Maybe none of these people existed.
It's all in the mind of an autistic child in a snow globe. Absolutely.
Perfect.
I'll ask you this question, but I don't honestly know when I saw this movie all the way through. I feel like it was relatively more recent. Like, I obviously knew who Norman Bates was, right, growing up. Right. But I don't think I saw Psycho like during my formative years. Do you remember when you might have seen Psycho growing up?
No idea. But I mean, our mom kind of liked horror movies. We used to watch Elvira, but this is way too quality for Elvira.
Oh yeah.
Saturday night on Channel 9 in LA. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and
I literally have no idea when I first saw this or when.
Because again, I knew Norman Bates was the psycho going in. And that's something that the audiences in 1960 did not have. I know Alfred Hitchcock was like trying to, because it was based on a book. So he was trying to like purchase like all the copies of the book so that people like wouldn't know. And he tried to instill like a rule where if you arrived late to the movies, they wouldn't let you in.
Oh, those are all, I love all. That's like some of that William Castle crap.
Yes.
That just encourages you to hurry up and get there.
Absolutely. Well, it's the original kind of Crying Game, Sixth Sense twist.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you walked in there, like if you didn't even know the movie was called Psycho, and you sat down and watched it, you would just think this movie's going to be about this girl stealing the money. And are the cops going to track her down? Is she going to meet up with her boyfriend?
She's the star, right? She's the star.
She's the star. You think it's all about her. And then it's a crazy twist. It's a crazy twist if you think about it. She goes to the hotel, meets an unassuming, sweet young guy, and she's dead. Pow. Crazy.
He kind of tips his hat to Crazy while they're having those discussions. Like he snaps while they're having breakfast or lunch, dinner. Let me pick one of those meals.
He made her sandwiches.
But he was swapping back and forth between smiling and charming to a little unstable, snap right back to smiling and charming. He was barely able to keep it together.
Well, she was trying to make just regular conversation with him. and talking about, you know, do you have any friends? Oh, well, a boy's best friend is his mother. That's already a red flag. She's like, oh.
Well, I'd be like, I'm not sure if that's true.
But then it's very much like, because he kind of complains about his mother, that she's kind of domineering and controlling. He's like, well,
She hears the mother screaming about
Yelling at
basically
him.
calling her a whore and you'll not give her my food.
Right. That's what kicks it all off. And when she says, well, why don't you put your crippled, angry mother in a sanitarium? That's when it's like, he kind of is like, no thanks. And I think I'm going to have to murder you now. It's basically what you definitely see a little peek under the, you know, under
what
the whatever.
you say about my mommy?
Right. I couldn't put her in a play. How dare you even suggest such a thing? Kind of thing. What's interesting is, like I said, my daughter hung around to see the death of Marion Crane. And she saw Norman Bates come running in from the stairs, oh God, mother, no, and clean up the mess. And then she bounced, and I asked her, who do you think the killer is? And she was convinced it was the car salesman.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Dude, or that cop.
Or the
How
cop.
about that?
Those are the list of suspects. She's like, maybe it's that car salesman. Maybe it's the cop.
I have a question.
Please.
You saw Cool Hand Luke, yes or no?
Of course. It's classic.
And then, oh brother, where art thou, right?
Yes.
Isn't that evil cop? Didn't they take him, the guy from Psycho, and model the cops off those two guys?
Oh, maybe, because you're right. Cool Hand Luke. It was the mirrored sunglasses.
Mirrored glasses,
right?
And then in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's in mirrored glasses. You can see the reflection of the flames in the glasses.
Right. I am not a huge fan of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? By the way,
what the?
Boom.
I don't even know what to say about that.
It's okay.
What?
Right.
I even bought the soundtrack. I can sit around and sing old religious folksy songs all day long. I was once at karaoke and someone was singing Man of Constant Sorrow and the whole audience was like singing along.
The Soggy Bottom Boys? Is that what you're saying?
The Soggy Bottom Boys. You're a monster. I don't know what to say.
Look, Coen Brothers are really kind of hit or miss for me, if I'm being honest. And
I'm not going to argue about that.
Oftentimes, it's very much like I have to be in the right mood to fully appreciate it. Like, for example, Raising Arizona is a family staple. It is unassailable.
100%.
I love it. Love it.
100%.
First time I saw Fargo, I hated it.
Oh, I love Fargo.
I know a lot of people.
You're wrong.
People did.
You're insane. Continue on with you. Are you psycho? Because clearly you're insane. Continue on.
Same thing about The Big Lebowski. First time I saw The Big Lebowski, I hated it.
I like it more now. How about that?
I like it more now as well. You because you know what it is, and people know what I'm talking about. If you go to the theater, you have a certain level of expectation of whatever. It's like, I want it to be this. And if it doesn't match your expectations and you just spent however much, you're kind of like looking at it with a critical, discerning eye going, no, I didn't care for that. Later, if you're flipping channels,
at least it's unique and original. I mean, so much shit today is so predictable. So I appreciate something more like, that's unexpected.
you will appreciate unusual and unexpected. I do not always appreciate unusual and unexpected. So that's all I'm saying. If I'm flipping channels and I come across Big Lebowski, now I'm in a different mindset. And I'm like, oh, now it's kind of a breath of fresh air. I'm enjoying Jeff Bridges and John Goodman and all their wackiness. Whereas at the time, I'm just like, I don't know. And sometimes I think people are too clever. Like, it's like, I don't like movies where people are like writing it and they're laughing. Oh, this is my funny. my funniest work ever. You know what I mean? Me and my buddies will love
What
this
is the matter with you? I think
Just
one of our
saying.
sisters went to a Big Lebowski party. She was a nihilist.
one. Right? From Autobahn. That was, but that's what I'm saying. It's like now I'll watch Big Lebowski and I'll laugh and I'll enjoy it. But at the time in the theater, I was just like, I don't like it. And this was true. We're kind of spanning the globe here. Ocean's 11, I thought was a
Never saw it.
good fun, heisty. The second one, I got the sense Steven Soderbergh and his buddies Brad Pitt and George Clooney were just laughing and laughing, high-fiving each other. It was like nothing but bizarre inside jokes, which I didn't appreciate. So I don't like it when it's too inside. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
I went to a Big Lebowski bar in Iceland, and there was a whole pool lane on the side of the wall.
Okay. Very nice.
I never saw Ocean's 1, Ocean's 12. That all
1 through 7. Yes, it's a whole thing.
It all looked like bullshit to me.
No. The first one was fun. And then it kind of went downhill from there, in my opinion. But let's get back to Psycho, for God's sakes. So why don't we jump right? We're already kind of hip deep in the highlights, but why don't you go ahead, Aaron?
I think we're hip deep in the highlights of the Big Lebowski.
We're back in the highlight again. Why don't
back in the highlight again?
Do you have any notes for this one, Aaron, for Psycho?
I started taking notes, and then I realized I really don't need to take notes because this is one of the most dissected, discussed. Even in college, I remember my library had like a frame by frame book,
right,
of this that I had checked out. So I mean, the beauty of this is one, they kill the star right away. Nobody expects that.
Not right away. An hour into the movie, they kill the main character.
You don't kill the star. You don't kill the star.
True.
And then there was all this kind of sexual undercurrent with this. He killed when he's sexually aroused. I mean, this is big stuff for shaky audiences in the early 60s.
Well, what did they say? That basically 10 years ago, Norman Bates found his mother in bed with a man, and in a jealous rage, he poisoned them both.
Yeah.
He poisoned them both. And then, because he was so jealous of her, that when he stole her body and taxidermied it and stuffed it up and put it in the attic, he felt if he was that jealous of her, then she must have also been that jealous of him. So if there's ever a time where his libido's kicking in, if there's a cutie walking by that's kind of giving him a moment, then that's when the mother personality kicks in and has to kill that person.
It's like he's so guilty that he has given half his personality to the mother.
Correct. Then they say that because it's basically the act of murdering them kind of fractured his brain.
Right.
Essentially, he couldn't accept that he had done this. Right? That it was his responsibility. Because I think the official story was that it was a murder suicide. That was the feeling. What did the old country bumpkin sheriff who was just like, well, I always love it. It's like, look, we're in Central California. No one has an accent like that. You don't have, it's like Raising Arizona all over again, right? Where it's just like, hey, well, no, Norman Bates, he's up there at that old hotel, ain't he? It's like, come on, bro. Anyway.
So he is in the nut house for 10 years, so it didn't seem like they worked on anything.
Well, I mean, remember in Psycho 2, right? He went to the nut house for what?
Again.
20 years. He was okay in Psycho 2. When he was finally got him out, he was fine.
All right. I take it back. I am getting my two Psychos confused.
Right.
So he did not go to the psycho place for killing his mom because they think it's a murder-suicide.
They think it's a murder-suicide. But he seemed to have some opinion. I'm trying to remember if there was some backstory about somebody going to a sanitarium or something previously. But as far as the official record was, he is innocent. It was a murder-suicide, and that Mrs. Bates is in a hole in the ground. She's in the grave, basically. That's the official story. But it seems strange because people seemed very close in this town. Like they knew Norman. Oh, Norman's got himself a wife.
I helped Norman pick out his mama's dress for your funeral.
Right. So it's weird because anybody who comes there, Norman acts like mom is still alive and kicking up at the hotel. Right. So clearly people aren't visiting that often.
Yeah. People are not visiting that often. They're not hanging out. He's not going to the VFW hall for barbecues. I think he's just staying there, trying to keep to himself, trying to keep that libido under control and managing their crazy hotel that no one stops at.
Did you ever see, mid to late 90s, there was a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho by Gus Van Sant, starring Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, Anne Heche as Marion Crane, and Julianne Moore was Vera Miles, I believe, if I'm remembering this correct.
Okay, it is fucking ridiculous that was ever took place.
Yes.
That's like saying, you know what would be great? I'm just gonna paint a copy of the Mona Lisa and I'm gonna do it brush by brush. Would that be great? Wouldn't everyone be excited to see that? No one is. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see the reimagining of Suspiria. No one wants to see the reimagining of American Psycho. Nobody wants that. Stop.
No, it's no question. It's really the most egregious to do a shot-by-shot remake because it's just like, then why do we need you, director? Right?
Yeah.
Why don't you go home?
If it was shot by shot, then why did it suck?
Well, they added some shit to it. It was fun. There was
it's not shot by shot.
There's the scene. I saw this in the theater when it came out. There's the scene where Marion Crane is checking into the hotel. She's like kind of putting her stuff away, taking off her shirt or whatever. And Norman Bates kind of moves the picture and like looks through the hole and is kind of peeping on her. In the original version, that's all there is. In the Gus Van Sant version, you hear Vince Vaughn whacking it.
Oh.
They added. You don't see anything, but you hear some sound effects.
Some rustling.
They might as well have had him reach over for some lotion or something. Really add to the picture. But it was just like, what are we?
I know I've seen it, but I blacked it all out.
People laughed. I remember being in the theater and he started doing it. We were like, what are we doing?
As they should have. Gus Van Sant, dude, you're getting ahead of yourself.
What are we doing?
Fuck.
Sweet Jesus. So, Marion Crane is killed. Norman Bates cleans up the mess, throws her body in the trunk of her brand new car that she bought using some of the stolen money, and throws her bags in the trunk, including the stolen money.
Yeah, he doesn't know it's there.
Doesn't know it's there. Pushes the whole thing into there's a swamp out back. I ain't staying at some freaking roadside motel with a swamp right outside my window. Forgive me.
How many fucking swamps do you think there are in California?
Growing up, I was convinced that every day of my life I'd have to avoid quicksand. Because everything that I saw on TV,
afraid of quicksand.
Everything you saw on TV it was a nonstop quicksand, evasion. Like you're constantly under siege. You step out your door, you may just fall into some quicksand. Because it's a thing. But never in my life have I encountered it.
According to AI, California has 459,000 acres of non-agricultural wetlands, which can include swamps.
Okay,
But,
there
but
is
then it
a
says 90% of the wetlands have been drained. So whatever. So yes, we have swamps apparently.
look in Long Beach where I work. There are actually wetlands, but I don't think of them as being swamps.
Have you thought of if you could push a car into it and would it sink?
Well, and how
What if
many
you pushed
cars could
it?
you push
What if
into
you
it? Is the
pushed
next
it
question.
into? Well, all the other people, I'm guessing. I think at the end they talked about there's more cars under there.
There's
What
30
if you,
cars stacked in the swamp. Is that how it works? Is it a
what if,
bottomless
what if you
crevasse?
pushed it into the La Brea tar pit? Would that work?
That would be the best plan, right? If you're going to commit a murder, just pitch someone to the La Brea tar pits and be done with it. Am I right? Anyway, people might notice though. Kids on like a science field trip.
Mommy, is that an Impala?
So it is what it is. So he pushes the new car into the swamp, and there's a tense moment where the car is starting to go in there, and then it stops, and you see Norman going like, eek, what do I do? Yeah. And then it goes down, and it's fine.
What is he eating? Is he eating candy or like sunflower seeds?
Could be anything. Crackers. Unclear.
He's like eating penny candy, like it's like 1842 or something.
Could be some Laffy Taffy, some Lumbus bread. I don't know what he's eating. He's eating something.
First of all, what the is Lumbus bread?
You've never read Lord of the Rings. That's the problem. That's a problem. Anywho. And that's when the rest of the movie kicks off. Because now it is the heretofore never seen sister of Marion Crane is here to find out what the hell happened to her sister. And there's a private investigator, Martin Landau, who's been sent by the millionaire who
it's not Martin Landau.
Not Martin Landau, Martin Balsam. Martin Balsam is his name. It's one of those things.
Damn you.
Damn it. Martin Balsam, not Martin Landau, a different actor. He's there on the case to track down the money as well. So they go directly to the boyfriend who like rents a room above the hardware store where he works. So he's not doing well financially. He was making a sound.
Renting it. It's his father's hardware store.
Oh, it's worse.
He's paying off his father's debts.
His dad died, so and had a lot of debts. And he's divorced. So he's getting both.
Two-time loser. Two-time loser.
He's a handsome devil, though. He was a handsome dude. Devil.
Who knows how old he was? Because in these movies, we don't know if he's 27 or 47. Because in these days, people looked rough.
Absolutely. But
how old was Marion Crane? 27 or 47?
Nobody knows.
With those old-timey hairdos, that aged you.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm not up on all of Janet Leigh's filmography, but this seems like this is the peak for Janet Leigh. Am I wrong? Maybe you know better than me.
I don't know.
We'll look it up at some point. But yeah, I think she had Jamie Lee about this time, maybe before this. Yeah. She already had a Jamie Lee. It's like Tippi Hedren in The Birds. She already had a young Melanie Griffith running around, when that movie came out. So who knows? Are they 25 or are they 45? Unclear.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. So now it's literally there's a movie montage of the private investigator literally calling every freaking hotel, motel, or Holiday Inn in the greater Fairvale. What's the name of this place? Do you even know?
Fairvale.
Fairvale, which is not a real place.
The town is 15 miles from Fairvale. We're not exactly sure where they are.
Gotcha. Because the Bates Motel used to be on a popular road that people would drive from wherever the hell they were going. But they built the highway, which moved, so now they don't get as much traffic. So Marion Crane was the first, last, and only customer for God knows how long.
Janet Leigh was 32 years old for this role, so I can see her eggs were hard boiling. She needed to nail this dude, lock this down.
She needed to lock it down, right? If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. But that's the thing. But it's not something, honestly, that people today would be like shocked if the guy's like, hey, first of all, they think the dude was lying to her. If he said, hey, I can't marry you because I'm in debt, right? If somebody said that to you, you think they just didn't really want to marry you. And this is all a bunch of BS, right? Back then, it was perfectly
He's getting the milk for free. But he's getting the milk for free.
Right. Well, he drove to her, right? He drove to her in Tucson, Arizona.
No, did not drive. He flew.
So he must be doing all right. Right, if he's getting plane tickets in 1960 from whatever the hell to Tucson.
He must be, because Tucson's the big place where you go buy crap for your home improvement store or something. Because it took her 2 full days and she still hadn't gotten to his house.
Okay, number one, it's like we think of Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix is much closer than Tucson. Tucson is like in the south, practically, it's not like
you're on your way to New Mexico.
It's way the hell down there, right? So that's the thing. She had to drive, and then where's Fairvale? Well,
we don't know where Fairvale is beyond Bakersfield because there is a Bakersfield sign and there was a Gorman exit, so it has to be past Bakersfield.
Oh shit! So it's good country, is what I hear. How did they even meet? Forgot there was no eHarmony back in the day, right?
Dude, yeah. There's a question. How the hell do they even know each other? I don't know. Unclear. Maybe she was like a sugar baby. There's no sugar baby websites. Maybe a correspondence in the personal column of the newspaper,
like the Pina Colada song. I was tired of my lady. Yeah. Anyway, so now we don't know who the killer is, but we know Norman is involved because he cleaned it up. Presumably, if we take everything at face value, which I think we're supposed to,
right?
We think the mother's the killer. The mother is the killer, and there's a scene when the private detective is starting to like, you know what? His answers, it's giving me a bad feeling. I'm going to sneak around him and go directly kind of take a look at this mom. So he sneaks in there by himself, goes up the door. What's the
name of the detective? What's his name?
Abernathy?
No.
Is that his name?
Arbogast.
Arbogast.
Yep. Remember, the detective goes Arbogast.
Correct. Arbogast goes in there. And this is interesting because Alfred Hitchcock was like, how do I film this scene where Arbogast at the top of the stairs and the mother comes out of the door and gets him without revealing that it's really Norman Bates.
Right, without actually showing the face. And it's an amazing piece of film work.
It is amazing. And that shot, whenever they did this in the original Salem's Lot, where it's like suddenly it's an overhead shot and you're just looking at the top of people's heads. It is unsettling and scary when you shift that.
It's like you're hanging above it. You're hanging above it. And it's happening like you're floating.
It is. Yeah. It's unsettling.
It's so effective.
So he's at the top of the landing and you see the door open. And immediately it's that Bernard Herrmann. She comes out. And again, you don't see her face because it's an aerial, it's above view. Slashes him. So he's got like a big old cut across his face. He does a weird little like floating thing down the stairs. Whoa, whoa, whoa. falls down, and then she pounces and kills him. And that's the end of Arbogast.
She's incredibly spry for an old dried apple lady, I will tell you. She was hustling.
Norman had to carry her desiccated ass and throw her into the goddamn fruit cellar earlier in the movie. Don't you pick me up. I can carry myself.
You think I'm fruity.
She did say that. That was a good moment. So now he's dead. And again, the sheriff's like, I don't know about any about this stuff, but just leave me alone. Why are you disturbing me in church? There are people missing. God damn it. What else you got going on?
I think this little gal of yours just run off. I'm sure she'll be back soon enough. We don't do none of that police work here in our fine town.
Like, who the hell was the sheriff? It was like Jack Elam or somebody who doing his old... Anyway, I guess that's the thing. If you live in a small town, the town sheriff has got to be from like the deep south, right? It's got to be Cletus or somebody, you know.
It's got to be like what, the heat of the night? What do you say?
It's got to be. It's Rod Steiger in his most triumphant role.
That would have been a very different situation.
That would have been a different story, no question. So the boyfriend and the sister are like, well, we haven't heard from Arbogast in a while. Let's go back to the hotel. And now their plan is, well, you talk to Norman and distract him. And then same kind of thing. I'm going to go talk to the mother because she must know something.
Right. It's taken a very giallo twist where we cannot rely on the police. Right. Clearly, we're going to have to solve the whole case ourselves.
But it's interesting because I don't think anybody suspects Norman or the mother of anything yet. They're just like, Norman's saying, look, she was here one night and she bounced. I didn't know anything else. And they're like, well, maybe your mom knows something. No, she knows nothing. So they're trying to get...
that the detective said something to the mother, and that's why they want to go interview the mother. They're not looking for dried apple ladies. They're not looking for bodies. They just think the two of them had a conversation.
Right. They think Arbogast found a clue and then bailed without telling them. But on the other hand, they're also kind of like, I don't think that doesn't seem somehow they formed this immensely personal relationship with the detective. Like, I just don't think he'd do that. He wouldn't just leave without saying anything.
And we got all that from meeting them once.
For me, 100%. Now they're all on the same side. Earlier, it seemed like, you're here to arrest my sister, aren't you? No. Frankly, and that's the craziest twist of all, where the detective's like, yeah, we're willing to live and let live. It's all good. As long as we get the money back, we're good. Really?
I think back in the old days, people were adverse to scandal. Now you got Yeezy, not so worried about scandal.
Yeezy. 100%. So homie is talking to Norman Bates and finding out the story, right? And what's funny is he's supposed to just distract him, and yet he's being openly antagonistic to Norman.
Oh yeah, he's openly aggressive. He's
like
crowding him. Everything he says, he's challenging him. I'm not really sure what the end game there was.
Well, I think he
Mr. Cup, sir.
Right, it was literally like he's rolling up his sleeves. I think he was trying to think that maybe Norman stole the money. And so if something happened to Marion, it's like it was for money things. And Norman's like, I don't know what the you're talking about, but why are you talking to me so aggressively? I'm gonna go hang out with my mom. And he literally get into a physical altercation. And Norman, who looks like he weighs 5 pounds, gets the upper hand and pops him on the head with an ashtray or something. I don't remember what happened. And I guess he's fine, right?
Well, we were less concerned with concussions back in the old days.
The old days of like 10 years ago, basically. Like the NFL's any indicator. So Vera Miles, Marion Crane's sister, is now like in the house, looking around, doesn't see him. She staggers down to the fruit cellar And there she sees the old woman sitting in a rocking chair. And
Every
she's
time I see
talking to her.
those old-timey rocking chairs, that's all I think about. I will never have that style of rocking chair in my house ever.
Why
It's
can't you
clearly
find
will
them?
make you insane.
Is that what is that the concern? If you ride in an
It's
old
that
time,
particular style. It will always remind me of Psycho.
fair, fair. But you have to think as Vera Miles comes down and sees the woman sitting in the fruit cellar in a rocking chair. You think she'd be like, "This shit's nuts. Why is this woman sitting down here in the cellar in a rocking chair, staring at the wall?"
She's in a timeout. She's been bad.
So she turns the rocking chair around, and then it's the grand reveal of the mummified, eyeless. You look like literally down the sockets of this scully face. Good
Right
grief.
before she turns it, she's startled. Her hand goes up so it hits the light. So the light is swinging back and forth, and then it slowly turns to dried apple head mother.
Yep. She's been dead for 10 years.
That taxidermy didn't work out very well.
I was just going to say that. Bro, was this like your first attempt at taxidermy? Because literally it's goddamn Tutankhamun sitting in this chair, mummified as shit. So
it is rough. It is rough.
And then, here comes somebody through the door. And I defy you. When you see Norman Bates wearing the wig, wearing the dress, just look at his face. His expressions as is there Martha Bates? What's the mom's name? Do you remember? Norma? Norma Bates.
Norma and Norman.
What a coincidence. If you just watch his face, it is the most hilarious series of expressions that the world will ever know. Half the time it looks like he's having a stroke. Other times he's doing like a crazy, like a Joker smile. Right. All sorts of crazy shit. He comes right at her, and the big burly boyfriend pops up, seemingly from a trap door, right? He's there just in the nick of time, takes the arm, grabs Norman's knife arm, holds it, and then kind of puts him in like, I don't know, kind of a headlock or something. And he's like literally ripping the dress off Norman. It's like, bro, what do we do? Why is your dress? It's like a romance novel or something where it's like you're ripping open your bodice or something.
It's Fabio.
And luckily, we don't know what happens. It's like smash cut. We're in the jail cell or whatever, the police station. How do they get from he's wrestling with an insane person holding a knife until what, the cops arrive? What are we doing here? Right?
Maybe they could have hog-tied him and just thrown him on their back, got on the Universal Tours trolley and gone to town.
This is a question. We don't know how. Yeah. Put him in the sleeper hold? I don't know what he did, but somehow he got him to the police station on time.
And where we're getting to the grand reveal, where the dude who was in every Twilight Zone episode ever, who's that dude who's playing the doctor? Do you know his name?
I don't know his name. We can look it up, but I know what you're saying.
We'll look it up eventually, but he was in every Twilight Zone episode as the doctor, and cameo of Ted Knight bringing Norman a blanket.
Are you shitting me? Do I have to go rewatch this movie for Ted
What?
Knight? I didn't
Ted
know that.
Knight whispers to the doctor, he's a little chilly. Can I bring him a blanket? Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, now I have to go watch this. I wanted him, if he's going to be Ted Knight, he's got to do his Ted Knight shit, right? I want to see Caddyshack quality Ted Knight is what I want. It was
very, very understated. And the best part, I think, of the whole movie is when, at the very end, with the extreme close-up at Norman, and they superimpose Mom's skeleton head for a moment over his face. I mean, amazing.
It was great. Now, I will say the character exposition dump that occurs with Norman off camera, where it's the doctor who we've never seen before, is just like, let me give you a 30-minute explanation as to
He's
what all
transsexual.
So
well, no.
He was very sensitive to that, right? Who was it? The chief of police is like, he's just a damn transvestite. Am I right? Like, no, hang on. First of all, we don't use.
Oh yeah, transvestite.
It's
interesting. No one's a transvestite anymore. You haven't heard that phrase since like 1970s.
It's making a comeback. Is the thing.
Unless you're on dating apps, then it's there.
Is that one of the options? Transvestite. But yes, we learned the entire backstory. We learned that Norman killed his parent, or killed his mom, and killed his lover, and now he's got like split personality disorder and all sorts of shit. So,
I like the part he was never only Norman, but he was often only Mama.
Correct. That was good. That was good stuff. I like that. The explanation as to it all, and how it's basically like, and now Norman, who barely existed to begin with, is now gone forever, was kind of what the doctor said. It's now only the mother.
And then you hear Norman or Norma talking to himself. There's a little fly, and it notices the fly. They'll look and they'll see, and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even hurt a fly. I guess I've seen this a couple of times.
In a way, I think back to Dressed to Kill, and it's like, I want it to be that the actor who is playing both roles should always play both roles and should do both the voices. You know what I mean? It should have been Anthony. I don't know. Maybe it was beyond his abilities, but it would have been better if it was Anthony Perkins doing the old woman voice as well.
It wasn't? I mean?
No.
It wasn't?
No.
What?
No. And it's like Dressed to Kill, where it's like, oh my God, it's the murder. And if you haven't seen Dressed to Kill, the reveal is it's Michael Caine is the murderer. But for the entire movie, there actually had a woman playing the murderer until the reveal. It's like, that's
you can't have Michael Caine.
I want Michael Caine. Anyway.
What about Tenebrae? That wasn't the killer's voice either, was it?
Oh, who the it could have been anybody on earth for Tenebrae. When you get to the Italian giallos,
someone Italian did it.
Or not. Teresa Russell, maybe she did it. Who knows? It's a mystery. Anyway, any other thoughts about Psycho before we move on with our lives?
I mean, for God's sake, it's an amazing, amazing film. How about that? Apparently, I didn't take any notes. Isn't that interesting? How about that?
No, it's a classic, but I will say for modern audiences, it's a bit of a slow burn. But again, my dream is to sit and watch this movie. Just like, The Sixth Sense, watch it with somebody who doesn't know the twist. You know what I mean? And get that kind of genuine reaction.
It doesn't have attention deficit. We need to meet cinephiles. Although you don't like artsy films. You only like boom, boom, car crash.
100%. I only like boom, boom. I think that'll be the name of my self-titled memoir. Anyway,
boom, boom, car crash.
That's it. 100%. Let's go behind the scenes, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Director Sir Alfred Hitchcock was so pleased with the score written by Bernard Herrmann that he doubled the composer's salary. And he said 33% of the effect of Psycho was due to the music. That's what Alfred Hitchcock said.
I mean, a good soundtrack does a lot.
What's interesting is that the movie Reanimator, which we have done on this show, liberally stole the opening theme from Psycho and turned it into their theme as well.
Absolutely.
Like, it's goddamn plagiarism.
Absolutely.
I like it. It's good, so I can't complain. When the cast and crew began work on the first day, they had to raise their right hands and swear on an oath not to divulge one word of the story. And Hitchcock withheld the ending part of the script from his cast until they needed to shoot it.
Nice. So, I like that. I
said
wish
this.
Blair Witch would have done that instead of the whole secret being blown out right before I went to go see it.
Absolutely. We said that Alfred Hitchcock bought the rights to the novel by Robert Bloch anonymously for only $9,000, and then bought as many copies as of the novel as he could in order to keep the ending a secret.
Have you
Boom.
read the book?
Well, yeah, it was a popular novel, and it was based upon who?
No, have you read it?
No, I have not.
Well, because I asked you that, and then you rambled off something that made no
No, I
sense.
thought you said, and he read it. I didn't hear you, goddammit.
I assume he read it if he's going to make a
Yes.
fucking movie.
I wasn't gonna make a federal case of it. I'm like, yes, that was a poor comment. Good Lord. Who is the novel based upon?
Ed Gein. And there's going to be a sexy Ryan Murphy remake coming soon, part of the Monster series with the dude from Sons of Anarchy, as Sassy Ed Gein.
Sassy Ed Gein. After
we had Sassy Menendez, we had Sassy Dahmer, and now we're gonna have Sassy Ed Gein.
That's important. Sir Alfred Hitchcock received an angry letter from the father of a girl who refused to have a bath after seeing 1955's Diabolique, and now refused to shower after seeing this movie. And Hitchcock sent a note back simply saying, "Send her to the dry cleaners."
Throw her in the swamp.
Yep.
Just wait till Jaws comes out, and then she can't be in pools or large bodies of water.
Right. It's like Jaws. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. When Norman first realizes there's been a murder, he shouts, "Mother! Oh God, God! Blood! Blood!" Sir Alfred Hitchcock had the bass frequencies removed from Anthony Perkins' voice to make him sound more like a frightened teenager. Which, it doesn't really sound like him that much if you go back and listen to those words when he says it. Let's talk about the cast and crew, shall we?
I mean, to make this work, you want to believe that it's his crazy mother, that he is too gentle, but he was doing some code switching over in the office. So you're like, but either that or we've seen this about 47 times. So,
well, in a way, it's good that he helps cover up the murder because it kind of makes sense that why he'd do so. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it is the mother's, responsibility for it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Directed by Alfred Hitchcock. You know him from Psycho in 1960. Vertigo in 1958, North by Northwest 1959, Suspicion in 1941, and a million other movies. What's your favorite Alfred Hitchcock? Shadow of a Doubt?
Shadow of a Doubt.
Boom.
But I also like Psycho. I used to not like The Birds, but I do like The Birds. Vertigo is a little rough. You're not used to seeing that main character as a bad guy, and he becomes a real bad guy.
Right. Let's look at the cast. Anthony Perkins played Norman Bates. You know him from such things as Psycho in 1960, Psycho 2 in 1983, Psycho 3 in 1986, and Catch-22 in 1970. Look at that.
I read that, but I never saw the movie.
Joseph Heller, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Janet Leigh played Marion Crane. You know her from such things as Psycho, 1960, The Manchurian Candidate in 1962, A Touch of Evil in 1958,
saw that,
and The Fog in 1980.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Pray for
Jesus
us.
Is right.
Papa Francesco, pray for us.
Vera Miles. You don't meet many Veras. Vera Farmiga is the only other one, I guess. Yeah. Vera Miles played Lila Crane, the sister. You know her from such things as The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance in 1962.
Okay, never
Psycho
saw it.
in 1960.
Saw that.
The Searchers in 1956. That's a John Wayne
movie. Yeah, aren't these all like Howard Hawks or whatever the name is? Man, I was just listening to a
Henry,
podcast
who
about
was it?
who was
You
it?
might be right. The
It's
Wrong
one of
Man in
those type of
1956.
guys.
Yeah. Let's see. John Gavin
Yeah,
played
John
Sam
Ford.
Loomis.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked to know, not his real name. Do you know what his real name is?
No.
Juan Vincent
Eugene.
Apablaza. He is fifth generation Angelino. He's of Mexican, Chilean, and Spanish ancestry, and he later became the
Wow.
ambassador to Mexico under Ronald Reagan.
Oh, so he's part of that John Wayne Hollywood Republicans.
Yep.
Very nice.
He was also Julius Caesar in Spartacus. He was in Psycho in 1960, A Time to Love and A Time to Die in 1958.
Unfamiliar.
And in 1967, he was in Thoroughly Modern Millie.
I did not see that, but you were in musical theater.
No, well. Martin Balsam played Detective Milton Arbogast. You know him from such things. He's been in a million things. All the President's Men in 1976.
Yeah.
Psycho in 1960. 12 Angry Men, playing juror number 1 in 1957. 1,000 Clowns in 1965. I always remember him from the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is an underrated Walter Matthau heist movie with Robert Shaw and the whole gang.
Didn't see it. Do enjoy Robert Shaw.
You should check it out. Anybody else we want to know about? I think that's probably about it. I don't see any evidence of Ted Knight in this. I think you're full of lies. Is that possible? That you're just making up shit?
Nope.
No, it's not possible. Oh, sweet Jesus. Well, why don't we go to the rating, shall we? Psycho currently has 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what the audiences gave it?
Look at the picture I'm showing you right now.
I'm not going to look at that.
It is a picture of Ted
That
Knight.
could be anybody, Aaron.
Dude. Ted Knight in Psycho. Go to images.
I'm trying to put on a podcast here. I'm not doing all this tomfoolery.
Son of a whore. All right, continue on.
Audiences gave it 95, in case you were curious. Looking at the top critics, Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times says, "What makes Psycho immortal when so many films are already half forgotten as we leave the theater is that it connects directly with our fears." 4 out of 4. Boom.
Yeah.
Lost
control, not being able to predict. I mean, it's like, it's so left field. You think you're safe.
Well, and that's the thing. Prior to that, if you saw a movie with a killer, there were defined motivations for being a killer. It wasn't just, I'm crazy. Right? And that's terrifying. The idea that there are people out there who are just nuts. And that's all the motivation they need. Let's see. Variety staff says, "An unusual good entertainment, indelibly Hitchcock, and on the right kind of box office beam." I don't even know what that means, but thank you, Variety staff.
Variety staff.
And right next to it, Time staff of Time magazine says, "Director Hitchcock bears down too heavily in this one, and the delicate illusion of reality necessary for a creak and screech movie becomes instead a spectacle of stomach-churning horror." That's a negative review. And that's ridiculous.
What the fuck?
What is your rating, Aaron, for Psycho?
First of all, some of the stuff we didn't talk about is she's all in white until she steals the money. Then she's dressed, all her lingerie is black.
Boom.
She is Marion Crane. When we are back at the hotel, all the pictures on the wall are birds. There's all these little treasures. My review is I've seen this movie 1,000 times.
Yep.
It is an amazing movie.
100%.
I need to take a little break from seeing it for a while, but I mean, it's a 5 out of 5. Boom shakalaka.
Boom!
It's a
Boom.
classic. It is an immortal classic.
I'm knocking on that door. I might say 4.5 out of 5 for similar reasons. It's you could argue it's a little bit of a slow burn. You know, the flight from Tucson to Fairview or whatever it's called takes a long time, and there's a lot of I'm stopping and getting a new car. You know, the sheriff is kind of looking at me cross-eyed.
Yeah,
It's a
that
little
would
bit
have
of a
been
slow
not
burn.
the good place to buy the new car.
Right in front of the cop as you're pulling out
Yeah.
like bags of like just cash.
What's the point? Drive to the next city.
Well, why buy a new car for any reason? Is it literally she thought the next day they're going to be looking for her? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Okay.
She
But you're right.
stole $40,000, which apparently is enough to buy a house.
But I don't think
So,
they'd miss it
assume she
until
stole.
right. This is
Well,
Friday night. It's Friday night. The bank's going to be closed until Monday, right? So she's got the weekend, doesn't she? Or am I crazy?
I don't know. I don't know what day it was. Was it a Friday?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Who the hell knows? But you're right. The
But they were
extended-
going to take it to the bank the next day, and he's like, no.
Fair enough. Well, then
So-
as she's leaving town with the cash, when she's supposedly sick, her boss is in the crosswalk and kind of gives her the side eye, like, what's happening here?
Dude, I
So-
cannot tell you that has happened to me before. I announced to work I was sick, and instead just walked like 4 doors down and was sitting at the bar having a drink. And walks in my boss after work and sits down, and she was pissed.
I bet she was. That's poor planning on your part, Aaron. You can't be
I
sitting
was a dum-dum. I was a dum-dum. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. It's not like she normally went over there, so.
Well, now the word is out. And people know where to find Aaron when she doesn't come to work.
Whoop, whoop.
Any last thoughts about Psycho?
Ted Knight isn't Psycho. You can Google it, children.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that scene. Love a good Ted Knight, if I'm being honest. So thank you very
with
much.
dark hair, not white hair.
'Cause
I
that
assumed he was born with white hair.
There were certain actors who seemingly had white hair from the moment they were 16 and a half, essentially, right?
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely. Anywho, thank you very much. You can find us all across the internet, social media webs, not all over, but in certain places. We're on Blue Sky,
some
we're on
places.
Threads, Instagram. Allegedly, we're still on TikTok. Is that true?
We are.
Could be.
We are. We're ticking and we're talking.
We're ticking and we're talking. You can also watch us on YouTube, for goodness sake. So you can see our beautiful smiling faces. So good times had by all. You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at
Gmail.
We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review, won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
Well, I temporarily created a new X account only because I was angry with Polaroid and no other social media was working for me. But that will disappear soon.
Okay.
I am on Blue Sky. I am on the Gram. I am on. I can't even remember what's the fake TikTok called.
Threads? Are they
Threads?
When that?
I'm on
TikTok.
Threads. I don't mean that. I'm having mini strokes.
That's
the
what we
fake
all.
X. I'm on Threads. I am
Sky.
on Blue Sky. I'm on the Gram. The Cult of Aaron. Join the cult.
So check
I
out
am
all that good stuff.
on. I have artwork on Artsy and First Dibs. buy some Polaroid stuff.
Do yourself a favor. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Mhm.
As you know, we like to include our thoughts and feelings of our friends across the internet landscape. Aaron, what you got?
Son of a bitch. You should have told me it was my
You know
turn.
what we do on this show, Aaron.
Brother, now I gotta open up effing TikTok. I
Make
think
sure.
somebody actually sent me a message. Someone was asking where to watch one of our shows. Oh, someone was asking where to watch the new Salem's Lot. So that's on Max,
That's
of
on
course.
Max.
But clearly they didn't listen to our review, or they would not be seeking it out. We've had some good responses to not Tenebrae, I'll tell you that. No good responses there.
Which is a great WTF video. That's hilarious. Anyway.
It's a great WTF. But really, my demon lover on the ticker talker, it just clicked up again. We're like 5,000 views, which for us children is tremendous. Which
tremendous.
I don't understand. And Alice, Sweet Alice is 3,200. The weirdest freaking movies always get the highest views. The more obscure and ridiculous, the more people like it. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you for that, Aaron. Next week.
Oh, speaking of
Yes.
monkeys, you went to go see the Robbie Williams Monkey Show?
Well, there's two monkey movies.
Oh shit!
There is
Robbie Williams in both?
He wishes he was
Which
in
is
both.
the one where Robbie Williams gets his lips eaten by the monkey? Which one's that?
That's Nope, if I'm remembering correctly. No, there's the Robbie Williams chimpanzee movie Better Man, which was actually shockingly good. Make no mistake, it's not Lawrence of Arabia, but when you walk in there going, why the hell am I watching this? And you're kind of like, oh,
why
that
the
was
hell are
entertaining.
you watching this? Why? No one in America knows who Robbie Williams is.
My daughter Grace was obsessed with him for some unforeseen. No one knows why. So she insisted we go and see it with her, and I'm like, fine. Then I saw The Monkey this weekend, based upon the Stephen King short story from the Skeleton Crew. The monkey that's on the cover of the Skeleton Crew,
right?
book, that's the fucking monkey.
That's not Monkey Shines.
That's not. It seems like it
with a quadriplegic and sexualized monkeys.
What? Frankly, it should always be that way. Am I right? If you go see The Monkey, Aaron, we can talk about it on the show. It's clearly a comedy, but half the comedy is how shocking some of the deaths are. Is really what it is. It's more of like a Final Destination kind of thing, because it's a little like Wind Up Monkey or whatever. It doesn't kill anybody, but if you crank it, then deaths occur in the most bizarre ways. So you have that.
Did anyone fall into a room full of coat hangers and razor wire? Then it's not that shocking.
First of all, no one has ever fallen into a room of coat hangers. Okay, let me stop you right there. I don't remember that movie.
I'm pretty sure that's Suspiria.
There's a bunch of coat hangers in this room. How strange. But yeah,
the witches used to run a laundry service.
It seems like it. Anyway, so next week, we're not doing The Monkey. What we are doing is Nosferatu, starring a number of popular actors. And you can watch it on, I think it's on Peacock for free. So we may or may
Peacock.
not. What's up?
Is Peacock the one? There's Peacock.
There's Peahen.
You're the Peahen. I'm trying to remember if I have Peacock. Is that
Peacock
the one?
Is the NBC. If you have, I think if you have NBC, you have Peacock.
I'm trying to remember if that's the one I have to subscribe to every year just to watch Eurovision. Never mind.
Oh, I don't know. Peacock is NBC. Paramount Plus is CBS. Beyond that, I don't recall. It's on Peacock, nonetheless.
All right. So I think I've run through my 7-day free trials, but maybe it's re-upped again.
It's cheaper than spending full freight, because if you don't do that, you have to buy it for like $20. Yeah,
No.
1999 on Amazon Prime. Otherwise,
But let's just say I found the Klaus Kinski version that came out when I was in college, slow as F. So
I've
let's
seen it.
hope
Yeah.
it's yeah. Everybody told me it was a masterpiece. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm ready to slide on the floor of this dirty movie theater and take a nap."
Well,
So we'll see. It was
it's
the
basically
English Patient of vampire movies.
correct. It was a shot by shot remake of the original 1924 classic or whatever it was. This is not that. This Nosferatu is the one that came out like last year. So again, it's on Peacock. We may have some special guests. We may not. Who knows? We're just rolling the dice.
Our family's out of control. It cannot be controlled. So who can say?
Who can say? So watch it on Peacock. Send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So,
Maybe.
so thank you very much, and be well.
Be well, babies.